This is Inside Badger Football with head coach Trey Shucker. Financial support for Inside Badger Football is provided by Blake Bell of Edward Jones Investments, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bank Corp., Chad Kesterson Shelter Insurance, Southwest Sporting Goods, Taylor King and Associates, Mary and Martha's Florist and Gifts, Price and Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles, Thompson and Kneebone, Clark County Farm Bureau, Dairy Queen, Pediatrics Plus, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto Collection, Midian Digital Creations, Andy's Restaurant of Arkadelphia, and Israel Word Law Farmers Insurance. The host of Inside Badger Football is Chase Hartzell.
Hello and welcome to this postseason edition of Inside Badger Football with Trey Shucker. I'm Chase Hartzell, and as always, we're joined by Arkadelphia head coach Trey Shucker. Coach Shucker, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me today.
So today we're going to break down the home playoff game against Clinton this past week. Pretty big win for the Badgers.
Yeah, it was a really good atmosphere. We got to play at home for the first round of the playoffs, which is awesome. Clinton was a very good team, very big, very physical, and our kids, met the task, and it was a really good game for us. Very proud of our defense, very proud of our offense, special teams. It was just a big team win for us.
And we're going to break down the highlights here in just a minute, but it's going to seem like a lot of Clinton highlights, and that's not a mistake. That we aren't missing any plays, but Clinton ran most of the offensive plays in this contest. It was quite an imbalance. Dr. Jim Rothwell was on stats for us on that game, and he said that Clinton ran 93 offensive plays in that game compared to Arkadelphia's 39 from scrimmage. But still, Arkadelphia putting up a season-high 56 points in this contest. We knew that Clinton was going to have that time-consuming offense coming into this game. So how did you prepare for that in order to get ready for this contest?
Well, we didn't necessarily know it was going to be that lopsided when it comes to plays. We'd like to get them off the field. Our defense would like to get them off the field pretty quick. But Clinton, they did a really good job at just maintaining their drives and putting some long drives together for a lot of plays. And then offensively, we did a great job at being efficient and we hit them with some big plays, especially in the run game. So we just happened to have some short drives for touchdowns offensively, and then it put our defense back on the field. And Clinton did a great job of maintaining some drives and putting some long drives together. But ultimately, our defense did a great job of keeping them from scoring in a lot of situations. But if a drive defense might be out there for 13 to 15 plays. And then, we get the ball back offensively and we score in 3 or 4 plays. And the defense has got to go back out there again. Those situations add up. And that's kind of how you get lopsided like that. So, but ultimately, our defense did a great job at, keeping them out and getting us the ball back.
And you mentioned those long drives. That was a long time out on the field for the defense, but they looked very well conditioned in this contest. They were going out there and making stops even to the very end of the game. Is that something that you focused on, even in the preseason and, maybe even spring practices leading up to games like this in the later part of the season and in the postseason?
In the perfect scenario, we wouldn't like that many snaps defensively, but it did show, just like you said, we are game conditioned where our defense is able to handle that. We didn't have guys cramping up. Our guys were, for the most part, pretty game night fresh for the entire game. They weren't necessarily winded or run out of gas at the end of the game. Our guys were pretty clean all the way through. So very proud of that. I think that's a big testament to how we practice, the way our kids prepare. Our kids, they take care of their bodies through the week and prepare for Friday night.
And going back to that offensive efficiency, you're not going to see this very often, but the Badgers had over a point for every offensive play from scrimmage in that game, nearly a point and a half per play from scrimmage. were there any tone setters really that helped to lead to that efficiency throughout the contest?
Well, the biggest thing I think is, our offensive line is playing very, very well right now. We're able to sustain blocks and pick up different things that we've kind of struggled with and had some difficulties with at the beginning of the year, but we've progressed every week. And our offensive line is playing at a high level right now, and it's really opening up some running lanes for Jay Sean and Donovan and Braylon and whoever else has got the ball. But doing a really good job at maintaining in our running game, and then also being able to pick up things in our pass pro. And that's able to give Donovan time to throw and get the ball out to our skill guys in space. And that's the biggest thing is, being able to control the line of scrimmage and maintain and allow our playmakers to go make plays.
And we're going to take a look at some of those great plays right now. This was the home playoff game against Clinton. So we start off with the first offensive drive of the game, and our camera did have a few technical difficulties, so some of these plays will be cut off early, but we'll do our best to try and fill you in on what happened on those plays. But you see this right now, the slow, methodical runs from Clinton to try to start out this contest.
Yeah, and that's the deal is they'd have slow, methodical plays. Our defense would hold them for 2 plays, and then for some reason they'd pop a big play. But first offensive play of the night here, big run by Jay Sean Davis. He ended up scoring that one, and that's about as good of a start as you can have offensively. The first offensive play of the night goes for 40 yards. And then, right behind it, followed up by the defense scoring touchdown. A big fumble recovery by Marvion Berry, takes it in and scores. And, that's huge. We get up to a 14-0 lead really early in the game. And, that's a very comfortable position to be in. We've been in that position before. You got to keep playing. So our defense goes back on the field. And, Clinton's doing a great job at just keeping the drives going. I mean, that's just how they are. They're big, physical. When you've got as big of an offensive line as they've got, that's what they kind of rely on. They're going to keep the ball on the ground. They're going to try to find different ways to just get 3 to 4 yards every play. And then, if they can get more than that, like you see, right here is a big play for them. That's just a bonus in their eyes. So right here, they're just able to sustain the drive and just putting those plays together and keep the ball moving forward. Defense, we're trying to get the ball stopped at the line of scrimmage. Our defense is flying around and, ultimately just trying to keep them out of the end zone. Just get the ball back to us.
So the Yellow Jackets did score on that drive, but the PAT was no good. It was a 2-point conversion, actually, but yeah. Clinton right back with the ball after a covered onside kick. It's 14-6 right now. Badgers still ahead, but Clinton, again, driving very well, using the run game to their advantage. And we saw that double handoff like we did right there many times throughout this contest. Yeah,
they were just trying to get us. They're trying to run away from certain players, and they did a really good job of it with the double handoff and executed the play very well. Defensively we had to adjust, and as the night progressed, we got better at defending it. It's just tough. They're really good at what they do. Just a really good play call there with, 3rd or 4th and goal. They hit us with the pop pass over the top. We're trying to play aggressive defense. We're trying to go make plays, but just a really good play call in that situation.
And with the 2-point conversion, Clinton does tie it up, and now Arkadelphia has the ball back. 14-14 all here early in the second quarter. As you can see, Clinton again moving the ball well on the ground, using both of their running backs to their advantage at this point. And we did see a few QB sneaks as the game went along as well, especially down here in the short yardage situations down near the goal line.
And that was the deal with them was, anytime it got close, a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 situation, they're just going to quarterback sneak it to get behind those big offensive linemen. I think they averaged probably 250 plus on the offensive line. I mean, that's probably one of the bigger offensive lines that we've seen this year, and they played well. They really did.
So after the score, there was a 2-point conversion that was no good. Arkadelphia trailing 20-14 at this point. But Badgers moving the ball well on this drive. You see a great run here from Jay Sean Davis.
Yeah, that was we talk about maintaining blocks. Our O-line did a great job at maintaining the line of scrimmage, and then our skill guys, our wide receivers, did a great job at getting downfield and maintaining the blocks on the corners and safeties and outside linebackers for Jay Sean to take it to the end zone. Just a big play for us. Playing very efficient offensively. Biggest thing is just trying to get the ball back.
So at this point, Arkadelphia back on top after the Spencer Allen PAT. It's 21-20 Badgers. Good stop there on defense, and now the offense with a chance to make some magic happen right here. Huge run from Braylon Bailey.
Huge run. That was a big situation for us to get the ball to him and let him go just do what he does. And that's go make plays. And then big throw and catch right here. Donovan Witten to Trip Campbell. Not said Tripp's name very much the past couple weeks, but Tripp had a really good night Friday. Was able to get open, had himself two touchdown catches. It was just a big night. Had a big night for him.
So Arkadelphia did go for 2 after that score right there. So now the Badgers leading 29-20 at this point in the contest, and a 2-possession game, especially against a team like this who is slow and methodical with their offense. That's a pretty big difference maker.
It is, and in the playoffs, you talk about seeds and previous record, all that goes out the window when it comes to playoff time. Everybody's situation's the same. It's win the game or your season's over. Clinton, they're a good football team. They came ready to play. They had a really good scheme. They executed really well. And early in the game, it was a tough battle. Our offense is moving the ball well. Our defense is they're playing well and tackling well. Clinton's just executing their offense, and we've just got to be more disruptive and trust our assignments a little bit better early in the game.
So a good pass play from Donovan Witten, and we were talking about it before the show went on the air. Donovan didn't get a ton of chances to throw the ball as there weren't that many plays from scrimmage, but he made the most of those opportunities that he got, including this huge pass right here that led to a score.
Yeah, this was great by Donovan extending the play, and then Tripp just finding space behind the DBs. And, you see Donovan does a great job. You would think, it was a question of whether Donovan was past the line of scrimmage or not, and you see right there he's not. Just a big heads-up play by him to get the ball out and then make sure that he was not past the line of scrimmage when he throws it. And just a really good play. Tripp makes a big catch over the defense.
And we saw a play similar to that against Malvern. It seems like Donovan Witten has a great idea of where he is on the field at all times and is able to make the throw before he crosses that line of scrimmage. It seems like he always has that idea of where he is and when to let go of the football.
He really does have a great idea of game situations and knowing where he's at on the field. And, a lot of high school players aren't that way, but that's one of his strong suits, and it's nice to have that. Clinton, one of their big things that they try to do is hit us on our weak side of our defense, away from the strength, and they did a really good job of it. You see, our defense did a great job of recognizing the screen there. One thing that has hit us before in the past, is really good progression moving forward to this week, was being able to recognize the screen. And then our offense, getting the ball back to us, get the ball to Jay Sean Davis. Jay Sean had a huge night with 5 total touchdowns on the ground. You see the double handoff again. It's probably their biggest play Friday night.
But it seemed like as this game went along, they lost some of that explosiveness. They did have a good drive right here, putting together a lot of good plays, but it seemed like as the game went along, Arkadelphia was slowing them down more and more, especially on those run plays, forcing them to go to the passing game.
Yeah, and I think that was a big testament, to our game conditioning. I felt like our defense, was never really winded. They were putting together a lot of plays, having to be on the field a long time, but I thought our defense was able to maintain the same energy level throughout the entire game. They try to onside kick it again right here. Really good recovery. Previous to this, they were able to recover one. That was part of their whole game plan, was to keep the ball out of our hands. This was one of the bad plays offensively of the night, just the ball that was underthrown. When you throw the ball as much as we do, sometimes that's going to happen.
We really didn't see too many QB scrambles up to this point in the contest, but we saw it more and more on this drive. Really, Arkadelphia, that defensive front really forcing him out of the pocket and taking what he could get to the outside.
That's right. Our defensive front was doing a great job at getting in the backfield, and then you see right here on the double handoff, we did a lot better job of bottling up the running back. It looked like a big gain. It was a long run, but it only was for 2 or 3 yards. You see our defensive front again being disruptive in the backfield, trying to make Clinton do something that they don't really want to do, which is this. They're not necessarily wanting to throw the football. They like to rely more on the ground game, but their quarterback is athletic. You see him, if he can get out, he can do some damage. But I thought we did a great job at keeping him in the pocket for the most part and forcing him to do something that he doesn't necessarily want to do.
And you talked about the excellent play that we saw from the O-line. Great hole opened up there for Ja'Shawn Davis. And when Davis gets into space, it's going to be hard to stop him, especially that close to the goal line.
Absolutely. Really good job by our O-line. Open up a running lane. Ja'Shawn sees it, gets a foot in the ground, gets vertical up the field, gets his momentum running forward. And he's very hard to tackle in space once he gets his momentum going. Really good open field tackle by Braylon Bailey here from the safety position. Good defense to tackle well in open space, and we did a great job of that Friday. One thing, another testament to our big plays, has another one right here, Ja'Shawn's 5th rushing touchdown. Big testament also is, we played with really good field position for most of the night offensively. We weren't having to put together 70-yard, offensive drives. A lot of it was short field position, and that allowed us to be able to execute plays and lead to some quick scores.
And the final score in that one, Arkadelphia 56 and Clinton 26. And Coach, it's hard to believe it, but that was Arkadelphia's first time scoring 50 points in a game this season. The offense has been incredibly efficient. In the regular season, they scored 40 points or more 7 times out of those first 10 games. But then on Friday night, first time eclipsing the 50 mark on their lowest amount of offensive plays from scrimmage of the year.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising, but very, very proud of our team and how they handled just the night in general, round 1 of the playoffs, and came out on top, ready for round 2.
And a lot of standout performances all across the board for the team, and I think we're going to recognize some of those right now. These are the Badgers of the week.
Offensive Player of the Week, Ja'Shawn Davis. Rushed the ball 12 times for 5 touchdowns and over 150 yards. Just a really efficient night by him. He's done a great job all season, but just his most efficient night running the ball. Really big playmaker. Our Defensive Player of the Week was Kobe Buckley from the safety position. He had a big task this week to kind of almost play like a linebacker. Had 14 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks. Just a big night by Kobe Buckley. Special Teams Player of the Week was Alex Loy. He was part of the reason why our offense played with good field position, was able to return some punts and get back into some good territory for us. Did a great job at being aggressive as our punt returner and helping us out with field position. And then our Badger Spirit Award winner is Shauna Childs, the mother of Landon Kuhn, our inside linebacker, but she also does a great job of being supportive of our team. She's on the sidelines every Friday nights taking pictures of the game and being helpful anywhere possible. She also does a great job at putting together some of our pregame meals and our Badger biscuits, and just big help for her. She's our Badger Spirit Award winner this week.
Yep. Well, congratulations to all of this week's winners. Huge week for Arkadelphia football. And Coach, we've got another big week coming up right now. We're going to break it down. Batesville Southside, first road test of this postseason. And before we get into that contest specifically, I want to go back to earlier this season. We talk about how games in the early parts of the season and even the middle parts of the season prepare you for those late games where it really counts, and even into the postseason. Arkadelphia has had some tough road tests throughout the year, especially at the start of the season. The one that comes to mind for me especially is Greenbrier. And that was a game where Arkadelphia fought hard against the Panthers in a very hostile territory. Greenbrier, one of the tougher one of the tougher environments to play in the 5A, and a team that is undefeated up to this point in 5A play. One of the standouts in that classification for sure going into the later postseason. But how did those games where you go on the road into hostile territory prepare you to play games like this against Southside, where you know the Southerners are going to be ready for a fight on Friday night?
That's exactly right. And, that's one of the games that we can probably compare it to the most. Greenbrier, we had to travel about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. Batesville is probably going to be our longest road test up to this point with 2.5 hours. But the environment's going to be very, very similar. Batesville Southside does a great job at supporting their programs and creating a really good environment. It's going to be the playoff environment, and our kids have been in that situation multiple times. But it's going to be an exciting night. We're excited to be able to go up there.
And this is a very talented Southerners squad coming in at 9-2 on the year. Had a good fight against Star City on Friday night, but was able to pull it out at home. And I think that speaks to the strength of that environment, as you were mentioning earlier. What can we expect from this contest?
Well, it's going to be a hard-fought contest for sure. Being at their place, they play really well at home. Just like we've just talked about, they've got a great environment. They've got great support. So it's going to be a really good test to our kids to be able to overcome some things and stick together, rely on each other, and just go play ball. Trust their assignments, trust each other, and it's going to be a really good environment to play in. They're a big football team. Their offensive line is huge. They probably average 240 to 250 plus across the offensive line. They've got an athletic quarterback. They just run their offense really, really well and efficiently. And defensively, they do a great job at taking away big plays. They do a great job of being disruptive and being good tacklers. So they've done a great job all season of holding good offenses to low points, and then they've also done a great job of putting points up on good defenses. So that's why they've got 9 wins on the season, and then they're in the situation of playing at home in the playoffs. They're a good football team.
And I'm sure you're going to appreciate it. The Badgers have one of the best traveling fan bases in all of the 4A classification. I think it's safe to say that, and I'm sure you're going to appreciate the support that the visiting crowd is going to have at Southern Stadium on Friday night for Arkadelphia.
No doubt, and that's huge especially in the playoff time, having a big home or a crowd to travel with you on some of these big games is huge. Creating that environment, to help you and keep the momentum and get momentum back, and just the environment for your team is huge in those big road games.
Yep. Well, it's going to be a great atmosphere on Friday night at Southerner Stadium. Kickoff set for 7 p.m. If you can make it out, go and support the Badgers. It's going to be a great game. But if you can't, we're going to make the trip up here up there at us here at Arkadelphia Badger TV. We'll be at Southerner Stadium to bring that game to you, and it's going to be a great matchup, Coach. Well, we're looking forward to it, and good luck this week.
Hey, thank you. Go Badgers.
Go Badgers.
Financial support for Inside Badger Football is provided by Blake Bell of Edward Jones Investments, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyland, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bank Corp., Chad Kesterson Shelter Insurance, Southwest Sporting Goods, Taylor King and Associates, Mary and Martha's Florist and Gifts, Price and Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles, Thompson, and Kneebone. Clark County Farm Bureau. Dairy Queen. Pediatrics Plus. South Central Connect. Java Primo. Southwest Auto Collection. Midian Digital Creations. Andy's Restaurant of Arkadelphia. And Israel Word Law Farmers Insurance. Inside Badger Football is produced weekly by Ouachita Baptist University's Rogers Department of Communications and the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.